All right, get ready because today we're going deep into this whole lazy way to make money online. We're looking at this YouTube video by Make Money Matt, and he's making some big promises. He says he's found the secret to, making money online without a ton of effort, but still making a good amount of money. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a little skeptical. I mean, is this just another one of those get-rich-quick things? That's what we're going to try to figure out today.
Yeah, I think the first thing you got to understand is what Matt even means by lazy. He says in the video that it's not about doing nothing. It's more about working smarter and not harder, and doing things that will pay you back for a long time. He calls it long half-life. Like you do the work once and then you can keep making money from it for years. It does sound kind of nice, right?
Yeah, like the dream side hustle. But even Matt says you have to put in some work at the beginning. His whole method is about affiliate marketing. I'm sure some of you listening already know about this, but for those who don't, it's basically partnering with businesses. And you promote their stuff and get a cut of each sale you make. It's pretty common in the online business world.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a real business model that lots of people use successfully. But here's the thing. Just because it's real doesn't mean it's easy. The hard part is finding something you're interested in that also has a market. Matt calls it interest meets market. He even says to write down like 20 things you're into, hobbies, skills, whatever, and then see if those things fit into any of the things he says are profitable. Things like technology or finance or personal development, stuff like that.
That's smart. I mean, you're obviously going to be more motivated and knowledgeable about something you actually care about, right? But finding something you're passionate about that can also make you money, well, that's got to be tough.
It really is. Like take the whole world of online business. There's a ton of potential there because so many people want to make money online. But that also means there's a lot of competition. If you want to succeed, you got to find your own little corner of that world, something specific that you can really own.
Okay, so let's say you've done your research and found a good niche. What's the next step?
Well, Matt says you need to find a product to partner with that pays well. He likes platforms like Digistore24 and Clickbank. Those are basically like online stores for digital products. But he also says to go for products that cost at least $500. That way you can make a bigger commission on each sale, usually around $250 or more.
Is that really possible, though?
Yeah, it can be. But don't forget, those are just two of many places to look. You could always just reach out to companies directly and see if they have an affiliate program, or find affiliate networks that are just for your niche. There are definitely options. The most important thing is to find products that will be good for your audience and make sure the company is legit. You don't want to recommend something that's going to make you look bad.
Right. It's like recommending something to a friend. You wouldn't suggest something you didn't believe in. Speaking of recommendations, Matt actually uses his own YouTube course as an example. It costs $11,000. Did that seem kind of, I don't know, self-serving to you?
Well, it's not that unusual for affiliate marketers to promote their own products, but they should at least be upfront about it. As long as he's being honest and the product is actually good, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But it's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you found your niche, you've got your product, and you're ready to start promoting. This is where Matt introduces his lazy content formula. But honestly, it doesn't sound all that lazy to me.
Well, it's all relative. Lazy is probably just marketing speak in this case. What he's really talking about is being efficient and using things that already exist.
Yeah.
His process is basically this. You find the best YouTube channels in your niche, and you write down what they say in their most popular videos. Then you take those transcripts and turn them into your own scripts. Then you make slideshows with visuals and record a voiceover or pay someone to do it and upload it all to your own YouTube channel. Of course, you got to optimize everything for search and include your affiliate links in the descriptions.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of work, even just listening to you describe it. It's a lot of steps, especially for someone who's new to all this. And where does the long half-life thing come in?
That's a good question. The idea is that if you make content that's always relevant, content that doesn't go out of date,
Yeah.
then those videos can keep getting views and making you money for months or even years, even after you make them.
Okay, I get that. But how do you know what will be evergreen?
You have to think about the things that are fundamental to your niche, things that people will always need to know. For example, if you're in the personal finance niche, a video on budgeting will probably always be relevant, no matter what's happening in the stock market or with investments. Or, if you're in the health and wellness niche, a video on the basics of good nutrition would probably stay relevant, even as new diets and fitness trends come and go.
So instead of chasing trends, you're trying to create something timeless. That makes sense. But Matt makes some pretty big claims about how much money you can make, doesn't he?
He does. In his example, he says, you upload 3 videos a week for a year, and each video gets 1,000 views a month. And even if only a small percentage of people who watch your videos actually buy the product, he says you could make $28,000 a month from an $11,000 product.
$28,000 a month? That's a lot. But is it actually realistic?
Well, it's definitely possible. But let's be real. Those numbers are based on a lot of assumptions. It's not as simple as uploading a few videos and getting rich. You have to make good content that people actually want to watch. You have to make sure people can find it. And you have to convince people to buy the product. And even if you do all that, there's still no guarantee it'll work out.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. Like he's saying you have to make 3 videos every week for a year. That's a lot of work. And then there's the whole thing about getting people to actually watch your videos. YouTube is so competitive these days.
Oh, it is. You're basically competing with millions of other people for attention. And the algorithm that decides which videos people see is always changing. So even if you make great content, there's no guarantee people will find it. You have to be smart about what keywords you use and how you write your titles and descriptions, and you have to promote your videos.
So it's not as simple as just making the videos and then forgetting about them.
Not at all. Even if you start making money, you have to keep learning and changing your strategies to keep it going. So it's not really about being lazy. It's more about working smart and setting yourself up to make money in the long run.
Maybe it's like strategically lazy.
I like that.
Okay, before we move on, Matt mentions a few other lazy tips. He says you should focus on recurring revenue. Things like software subscriptions where you get paid every month as long as people keep subscribing. He uses the examples of TubeBuddy and vidIQ, which are tools that YouTubers use. What do you think of that strategy?
Recurring revenue can be great because it's more predictable than one-time sales. And since he's talking about YouTube, it makes sense to recommend tools that YouTubers would actually use. But you always have to make sure that any subscription you promote is worth the money.
Good point. He also mentions using screen recording software to make videos, which I guess could be easier than making those fancy edited videos.
It could be. And for some niches, like if you're teaching people how to use software, screen recordings can be really effective. People can actually see what you're doing on your computer, which can help them learn.
And finally, he talks about outsourcing tasks you don't like editing videos or making thumbnails. He even mentions using Trello to manage everything. Is that taking the lazy thing too far?
Outsourcing can be great for freeing up your time so you can focus on what you're good at, but you have to do it ethically. If you're going to outsource, make sure you're working with people who treat their workers fairly.
So it's about finding a balance between being efficient and being responsible.
Exactly. Now, before we finish up this part of our deep dive, I think there's another downside to Matt's lazy method that we should talk about. If everyone starts doing this whole thing of watching popular videos, writing down what they say, making slideshows, will that lead to a lot of similar and unoriginal content on YouTube?
Yeah, that's a good point. And it brings us back to how important it is to find your own unique angle. You need your own voice, even if you're in a proven niche.
You definitely do. Because at the end of the day, being successful online, whether it's through affiliate marketing or something else, it takes more than just following a formula. You need to be creative, you need to work hard, and you need to actually want to help your audience.
So it's not just about being lazy, it's about being smart and strategic and finding a way to stand out. But before we get too deep into Matt's method, let's take a step back and think about the bigger picture. Is this whole strategically lazy affiliate marketing thing, is it actually a real way to make money online?
Well, from what we've seen so far, the basic ideas are good. Affiliate marketing itself is a real business, and Matt's method gives you a plan to get started. It's like he's giving you the instructions, but you still have to build it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's not some magic trick, it's a strategy.
Right.
And you have to put in the work and plan things out and be a little bit of an entrepreneur. And like with any business, there are risks. There's no guarantee you'll be successful.
That's true. A lot of things can affect whether someone will be successful with this. Choosing the right niche, the right products, making good content, marketing it well, it all matters. And you can't forget about luck. Sometimes being in the right place at the right time can make a big difference.
For sure. It seems like Matt's video is mostly for beginners, people who are just starting to learn about online business. But what about people who already have experience with making content or marketing? Would this lazy method still work for them?
That's interesting. The main ideas could definitely still apply. But someone with experience might not need as much guidance. They might be able to tweak the method and make it work even better. because they already know some things. Like someone who's already good at SEO can probably figure out the right keywords to use and optimize their videos really quickly.
Yeah, it's like learning any new skill. The more you do it, the more experience you get. And the better you get at finding your own way of doing things,
Exactly.
you start to see the bigger picture and understand how all the pieces fit together.
And for people who already know about online business, the most helpful part might be the specific strategies and tools Matt talks about, not necessarily the whole formula itself. Like his advice about finding profitable niches and researching affiliate products and using Trello to organize your work. That stuff can be useful for anyone, no matter how much experience they have.
Those are really good points. It makes me think about how Matt's approach compares to other ways to make money online that we've talked about. Like, remember that episode we did on dropshipping that was also about selling products online? But it was more about managing the logistics and shipping than making content.
Oh, yeah, that's right. With dropshipping, you're basically the middleman between the customer and the supplier. You don't have to store or ship the products, which can be good for some people, but it has its own challenges, like finding good suppliers, making sure the products are good quality, and dealing with customer service.
And then there was that episode on freelancing, which is all about selling your skills and services directly to clients. That's a whole different kind of hustle. You have to market yourself, build a portfolio, and network to find clients.
Exactly.
Each method has its own pros and cons, and what works for one person might not work for another.
That's so true.
I think that's one of the most important things to remember when you're exploring online business. There's no one right way to do it.
Definitely not.
The best way to make money online is the way that fits your skills and interests and resources and lifestyle.
And how much risk and uncertainty you're comfortable with.
Yeah, for sure.
Some methods need more money up front, some need more work over time, and some are just more unpredictable.
That's all part of it.
You really have to be honest with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses and choose something that feels right for you.
I think that's a perfect segue to a really important point. Self-awareness.
Oh, absolutely.
Tell me more about that. How does self-awareness play into all of this?
Well, it's about understanding what motivates you, what your goals are, how you like to work, and how much risk you're willing to take. Like, if you're someone who loves having creative freedom and working independently, freelancing might be a good fit. But if you prefer structure and knowing what to expect, a more systematized approach like Matt's might be better.
So it's not just about finding a method that works, it's about finding one that works for you. Something that you can keep doing and that makes you feel good.
Exactly. And I think that's where a lot of those get-rich-quick schemes miss. They promise you easy money, but they don't talk about the human side of things, the personal journey that goes into building a successful online business.
Right. It's not just about the money. It's about finding something you actually enjoy doing, something that makes you feel good about yourself and what you're doing.
It is.
Otherwise, it just becomes another boring job. And who wants that?
Definitely not me. And that brings us back to what Matt said about doing something you're passionate about.
Yeah.
It's not just about finding a niche that makes money. It's about finding one that you actually care about. Something that makes you excited and motivates you to create.
It really makes a difference. When you're passionate about something, it shows in your work. And people can feel that.
They can.
And that can really help you stand out online. It helps you connect with your audience and build a brand that people trust.
Absolutely. And it makes the whole process more enjoyable. When you're doing something you love, it doesn't even feel like work. It feels like you're expressing yourself and sharing what you know with the world.
It's like that saying, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly. But even if you're passionate about your niche, it's important to remember that building a successful online business takes time and effort.
Yeah.
And dedication. There will be challenges and setbacks and times when you doubt yourself.
Right. It's not always easy. There will be days when you feel like giving up.
There will be.
But if you have a strong foundation and a clear vision and a real passion for what you're doing, you'll be more likely to push through those tough times and eventually reach your goals.
All about resilience. And that resilience often comes from knowing why you're doing this in the first place. What's driving you? What kind of impact do you want to make? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
Wow, those are big questions.
They are.
But they're important to think about.
They really are. Because in the end, success is about more than just making money. It's about creating something meaningful, something that makes a difference in the world, even if it's just a small difference.
It's just making the world a better place. I like that. Okay, so before we wrap up this whole deep dive into Matt's lazy content formula, I want to go back to something we talked about earlier, that long half-life content. We talked about how that kind of content stays relevant over time and can keep making you money for years. But how do you actually make content like that?
That's the big question, right? There's no perfect answer. But there are some things you can do to increase the chances of your content lasting. One important thing is to focus on the basics, like the core ideas or concepts that aren't going to become outdated. It's like building a house. You need a strong foundation that can handle anything.
So instead of chasing what's trendy right now, you're building something more solid.
Exactly. And that means thinking carefully about your niche and figuring out what knowledge or skills people will always need. Like if you're in the personal finance niche, a video about budgeting will probably always be helpful. It doesn't matter what's happening with the stock market or investments. Or if you're in the health and wellness niche, a video about good nutrition would probably stay relevant, even as new diets and fitness fads come and go.
So it's about giving people something that will always be valuable.
Right. And even though we can't predict the future, you can make your content more likely to last by focusing on the timeless parts of your niche. What are the things that will always be in demand?
So you have to think strategically, not just about what's popular now, but what will be valuable for a long time.
Exactly. And I think this is true for any online business, not just making content. You want to create something that can grow and change over time.
So you're not just trying to make a quick buck, you're building something that lasts.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And that might mean not following every trend or trying to go viral. It's about having a plan for your business and sticking to your values, even when it's tempting to take shortcuts or do what everyone else is doing.
So you have to be brave enough to be different and find your own way, even if it's not the easiest or most popular way.
I think that's what makes successful online entrepreneurs different. They don't just follow a formula or copy other people. They have a vision, and they're creative, and they're determined to make something truly special.
It's about finding your own voice and sharing it with everyone.
Exactly. And that's what I love about the online world. It's always changing, and there's so many possibilities. And if you're willing to work hard, you can achieve amazing things.
Well, I think we've covered Matt's lazy content formula pretty thoroughly, and it's clear that it's not as easy as it sounds. But it does give you a structured way to approach affiliate marketing, and it makes you think about how to make content that will last.
It definitely does. And even if you don't use Matt's method exactly, the things we talked about today, finding a good niche, making good content, and building a business that can last, are important for anyone who wants to be successful online.
I completely agree. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one last question to think about. If you were to try this lazy method, what niche would you choose? And what would make you stand out from everyone else? Really think about that. What are you passionate about? What do you know, or what skills do you have that you could share with others? How could you create something really special and valuable that people would love?
That's a great question to ask yourself. Remember, being successful online isn't about finding some magic trick or taking the easy way out. It's about finding your own voice, sharing what you love, and creating something you're proud of.
Well said. Thank you so much to everyone listening for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you learned something new and feel inspired.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep exploring.